All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Autonomy Podcast. And today I am welcomed by Jatin. How are you, man?
Hey, hi, I'm pretty good. Excited to be here in the podcast.
Awesome, awesome. It's really lovely to
Mhm.
have you, and I really appreciate you taking the time off of your Friday morning to do that today.
It's a pretty great thing. Morning was pretty good. I would say I just following the basic routines in the morning. My coach, Abud, I have to relay him information every day. How was my day and how I split up my things in the morning and evening. So I done almost 50% of my routine in the morning. So feels good to start morning with the half of the work done.
Exactly, yeah. And what a way to
Mhm.
start your day with some accountability, right?
Yeah, yep, exactly. I mean, that's the main thing I would say. I mean, if you don't hold yourself accountable for your own growth, I mean, nobody else going to do that thing for you.
That's absolutely correct, Jatin.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking at your progress, man, like you have lost 7 kilos so far. That's 14 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
14 to 15 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
starting only since around after Thanksgiving, which is something like
Yep.
absolutely insane to do. Living in America, whether you celebrate those
Mm-hmm.
holidays or not, Thanksgiving is part of the culture, Christmas is part of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did you feel you were able to be consistent and knocking down those pounds?
Yeah, I mean, I still remember when I initially started. I think I started on mid-November. I think at that time I had my first call with Abud.
Yeah.
We basically kind of decided on the goals, and then this Thanksgiving came, and in America, November and December, those are kind of pretty relaxed months. Like everybody's relaxed. Winter is here, so you basically go out on the celebrities, eat stuff, and so basically gain weight. And I think we also had this discussion in a week. Like my coach said that you don't really have to follow these things. I mean, you can give yourself some slack off. So I did that. It's not like I completely followed those things, but I think the main thing that allowed me or helped me to stay on track was probably the progress.
Yep.
So if you see progress on a day-to-day basis, you tend to follow the routine that worked for you,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if you don't see the progress, don't see the results, it kind of demoralized you, and you tend not to put efforts on it. So that has helped me a lot, the progress, specifically in the initial days. So I started around 61 or 62 kilos when I initially had my weigh-ins. In very first 2.5 weeks, I would say I saw a sharp decline on the weight side. So that motivates you, right? I mean, if you're seeing the
Mhm.
results in early phase, you tend to continue these things. So it helped me to build that thing and continue it forward till for around 4 months and seeing the results.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's
Mm.
certainly frustrating to be putting the effort and not seeing
Mm-hmm.
progress as well,
Yeah.
you know? So that takes me actually
Yes.
to my next question, Jatin. What have you struggled with before joining autonomy?
Yes, I would say two things. Those are main one difference that I thought before and after. I've been working out. It's not that I wasn't doing exercise and physical activities before.
Hmm.
I used to do that for almost 2 years. But the other thing that was the diet. That was I think key part that was missing from my end. I am not kind of an expert on that area, like how to manage your food. And I work as a software engineer, so I work mostly with computers. So that was a kind of a missing part. So what I was doing in the past, just doing workouts, not following the diet or the physical activity part. I used to go to gym, come back, sit. That was my routine. But after coming here, I got when it's a detailed plan, what to eat. I mean, it's not like a rigid plan, I have to eat only these things. But in general, an idea about what to eat and how to manage your day in terms of calories or food stuff, and how to supplement the physical activities as well as gym to your the goal. So I started just basic walking evening and in the morning, around 30-40 minutes, and also working out on the sides. These two things kind of played a bigger part in this journey, I would say.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic to hear, man. And
Mm-hmm.
certainly having that variety and flexibility certainly helps us be consistent. So,
Mm-hmm.
my next question to you, Jatin, is what was the reason for you to decide to embark on this health journey? What was the why?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we always have that pain that drives us to do things in our life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What was your pain or your why?
Yeah, I remember this story. I was in India till 2019, and in India, I think you are what to say physically active. I would say compared to in states, you need to go out, you basically walk or do some physical
Hmm.
activity. But when I came here in 2019 in states, and then COVID happened, right?
Yeah.
So basically, I just sitting at home doing nothing. So basically, just sitting at home and eating and studying. That was kind of my routine. When I was in India, I was around 55 kilos of weight, and I never had an issue with my weight or never felt that I'm getting bulkier. So for 20 23 years that has been the case. Coming here for 2.5 years in COVID, I didn't go to India for a year. I went back after 2.5 years. I came here 2019. I went back in 2021 December.
Hmm.
When I landed in India, initial reaction from my parents was you have put on a up weight. They were
It hits
like, okay,
differently.
like, yeah, we never saw you like this thing. Like I had like chubby cheeks and these things, and I weighed myself, and I was around like 64 kilos.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think that was the first time I had crossed like the 60 kilo marks, and that wasn't an intentional growth, right?
Mm.
Like that was just basically unnecessary and unwanted growth. So that kind of hit me a bit. Like I don't want to go in that direction. And the other thing that kind of I have from my end is, so I work in IT,
Mm.
and like I have a lot of people. So I work in IT in India as well as I'm working here. So I have a lot of people who are Indian, and like they usually tend to not focus on their own health or like growth. They don't want to focus on this thing, and that's not kind of a right thing that I would expect, because like it's your body, and like you should be the first one to take care about of yourself. Nobody needs to do it for you. So I don't want to go in that direction, whether like the train has left the station and like there is nothing that you can do, right? You basically want to start working before things start getting to out of your hands.
Exactly, man. And that's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely fantastic to know, because that what
Mm-hmm.
keeps you moving, like that what keeps you
Yep.
motivated throughout the whole journey. You know, you look at that big
Mm-hmm.
goal and how you were and how you want to
Yeah.
achieve it. And that's certainly showing, because looking at your progress now, you're sitting at 53
Mm-hmm.
kilos, which is
Mm-hmm.
lower than when you were in India, when you mentioned being
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
55.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
so
Yeah.
how do you feel
So
now?
like, yeah, I mean, like, I think the other thing that I want to add, biggest change that I had like recently had is like, so my coach basically has suggested me like to have vegetables or like veggies more in your diet. So that's the biggest plus point that I see right now, is like I have started in eating a lot of veggies that I previously was not eating up. So like a lot of things. So that's kind of good thing that I'm not kind of restricting and like keeping it like just a small options for me. It definitely helps. And I think I just had like a weigh in today morning, and like that was kind of the lowest weight that I have ever had for probably 2 to 3 or maybe 4 years.
Wow.
53.3. So that's a new record low
Record.
for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Feels pretty good.
Absolutely, yeah. And how do
Mm-hmm.
you feel right now at 53 versus, like,
Mm-hmm.
let's say 63 or 64? And how do you
Mm-hmm.
feel now?
Mm-hmm. I would say like much more. I would say like first thing is confident.
Hmm.
That's definitely one thing that I have observed recently. The second thing would be motivated and also less lazy, I would say, because like when I was 4 or 5 months back, what I used to do. So I'm working from home,
Hmm.
so my like outside interaction or like the reasons for me to go out of home are pretty few. So what I used to do is like wake up, take my coffee, sit on a computer, log out, go to gym, come back home, cook and sleep. So that was my kind of a routine. But now what I have, like I split my physical activities morning in the evening, right? So I go out of house, go in the morning, so I basically get to see sunshine. So I live in Florida. I'm blessed with that thing that I get to see sunshine a lot,
Yeah.
and it feels good to go out in the morning. It basically energizes your day. You are able to what do you say, like focus more during the daytime compared to what I previously used to do. Like
Yep.
just grinding out the same routine each day out feels much better.
Absolutely. And it's always like, a struggle, because a lot of people are now working from home. So that
Mm-hmm.
level of activity also get affected as well. And they
Yes,
feel like,
yes.
okay, this is like, hindering their progress. How did you feel the
Mm-hmm.
strategies that you have learned help to balance things out and still lose that weight?
So initially we had a smaller goal, what I would say, in our first one third part, that like around getting 8,000 steps, right? Like because previously I never used to go out.
Mm.
I mean, it's very difficult for a person to start doing like 10,000 from the next day. So it is difficult. I mean, like you can do it a day or for two, but keeping it as a habit, it's a difficult thing.
Yeah.
So that was a good suggestion that was given, like try to split the things rather than like going out 8,000 steps in a single stretch.
Yeah.
Split out those things basically morning, evening. So that I started doing that thing. Also like trying to get workouts like 4 to 5 days in a week. I used to do that thing, so I did not feel much burden about that because it was kind of a routine for me.
Yeah.
And I think just probably the change a bit was for the food thing. I've been like eating Indian food for like almost my entirety of life.
Mm.
There is just few tweaks that we needed to do. So that basically required a few adjustments in the beginning that I did with my coach. So the strategy has been pretty good. So I think as I'm able to follow it for like at least 4 months now, so it feels kind of a routine for me now.
Yeah, that's absolutely
Mhm.
amazing to hear, Jatin.
Mhm.
Tell me about the things that you have learned so far that you did not know about before joining Autonomy.
The main thing that I noticed is like the importance of physical activity.
Hmm.
As I told you, like I used to do workout before, and I used to eat like the Indian food before. The thing that was missing was a bit alignment to diet,
Yeah.
and like adding that missing part of physical activity.
Hmm.
That was completely missing. But like when we added that from November, the difference that has made to the progress is huge. It just like you can say like, hey, just 1000 steps, how much they are going to contribute? They're not going to contribute much. But like from my own experience, they have helped me a lot. So like even if I'm on a rest day or like not working out due to some like conflict, but if I manage to get few more thousand steps a day extra, 12,000 or something, or 13,000, that helps me to keep my things in balance. I never thought that thing would have helped me in my progress a lot. So that's one thing. And I think the second part would be the diet thing. You cannot like just go rampant on like food, right? That's the thing. So you need to plan your day. That was another important thing. Planning, basically how to plan your day. So today is Friday, right? There is highly like probably go out for some dine out in the restaurants, or like just maybe a to go. How to plan my that meal, because eating out you probably be eating more than what you should have
Yeah.
in your regular plan.
Yeah.
So that thing, like how to plan your day according to your things, and like the importance of that, and how to manage my protein intake. That was the other concern that I had when I initially first discussed that I am not sure like how much should I be taking, or whether the amount of protein that I am getting in enough for me, because I had pretty much same weight for like 7, 8 or 10 months
Yeah.
despite continuing the workout and continuing the normal food that I used to have. So that has been also a plus point.
It's absolutely important because we always, whenever we start a diet, am I hitting my protein target? How much food do I need to have? All
Right.
of this causes decision fatigue. And with such
Yeah.
complexity that is going out with life now, it just takes a burden or a toll on your thinking
Exactly.
process, right?
Exactly. I don't want to like continuously be burdened about what I'm eating, like the calories I'm going to take, or like whether this is enough protein or not. That kind of things is just too much to handle sometimes.
Exactly, yeah. So certainly having that guidance or support to help you figure that out is absolutely fantastic to hear. So that takes me to my next question, Jatin, is what helped you remain consistent over that past 3 months, 4 months to stay consistent, remaining in that calorie deficit and stay on track with your goals?
What I say is like you are your own best judge, right? So
Yeah.
whenever you are looking in the mirror, you know whether you are putting efforts, or like whether the things you are doing are progressing well or not. Whenever I'm taking a shower, or like after shower, after working out, you see the difference when you are lifting the weights in
Yeah.
the gym. What was it before and like what was it currently now? So there has been a difference. The other thing is also like some people whom I have been with, like my friend, when they saw me like after a gap 2 months or 2.5 months, they told me that you have lost on a weight. So these kind of compliments basically adds up to the motivation. That's the biggest motivator, I would say. You don't need to go on and tell people, hey, that I'm losing weight, right? The biggest motivator will be when people start noticing the difference, and like then they tell you.
Yeah.
So that has motivated me a lot. And also the mirror, that's the another motivator, that you see the difference in the mirror, what's happening with your body, and like the efforts or like the things that you are doing for yourself are resulting in a much better result than you are hoping for. Those two things I would say are pretty good motivators for me.
Yeah, and it certainly hits differently to see that difference. The first time when your
Yeah,
parents saw you,
exactly.
they were like, "Oh, you gained
Exactly.
weight," and then you see friends.
Exactly. I'm hoping to go to India this summer, right? And this will also be like after 2.5 years. This time, I'm just hoping to see what the reaction will be. So,
Yeah,
like,
you're gonna totally change the
I,
narrative there.
yeah.
That's absolutely fantastic, man. Really looking forward to hearing what your parents and
Yeah,
family are gonna
definitely.
say, right?
Yep, definitely.
Awesome. My next question, Jatin, is what were some strategies that were adopted by your coach that you felt really went well with you and really worked with your current lifestyle?
Okay, so I think so. We initially had what I told, like our first one third journey that we had. So we had some general plan for like the food thing. So we sketched up breakfast, lunch, snacks, and dinner plan kind of thing according to my need, and 8 to 10,000 steps. That was kind of a goal, and like hitting workout. So that was basic initial plan for me. What happened is I got some results in first 2.5 weeks very quickly. Then there was some like a plateau, I would say, or like the stagnation that you basically see sometimes.
Yeah.
And that started to happen for a week, I would say. So I spoke with Abud, my coach. So he suggested some tweaks, adding some more veggies so that you can feel more satiated, not hungry, and like eating crab food.
Yeah.
So that was one suggestion. And the other suggestion was just that basically try to add 1,000 or 2,000 more steps in a day. That's it. Started doing that after his suggestion. Then it again started to show the results. So I think that was pretty good one select suggestion. important. What I feel, if I was doing this thing on my own alone, I wouldn't know these things, right? I would have just plateaued, that which was what happening previously, that it was just sitting constant. It's not like increasing or going down, and I would have just lost my interest eventually. That has helped me to continue without getting like demotivated. The other thing was the feedbacks. That was pretty good
Yeah.
and helpful. If I'm going out, what should I try? Or like, let's say I'm trying out some veggies or like fruits, like how should I go with these things. Also, like sometimes coffee, how to handle that thing if I'm having coffee, or like sometimes I drink out, how do I manage those things. So he has been consistently been helpful. And the other thing that I would say is, it's not a restrictive thing. That was another important key point that I want to say, like, help me to stay consistent. You cannot just restrict yourself for doing a constant thing for like lifelong time.
Yeah.
That I cannot just keep on eating one thing or like one type of food forever. You need some variations, and like as a normal human being, you need those variations. So
True.
that was also considered in the plans and like the entire game plan, that it contained variety of options, not just one option. So that's pretty good as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely great to hear, and certainly helps you stay on track
Yeah.
with your goals, which takes me to my next question actually is, what is next for you, Jatin? What goal did you have in mind joining autonomy? And now you are like 2 kilos below where you first were in India. So what do you feel is the end plan for you?
Yeah, I think like when I initially started, right? So what I had told that I want to get my body fat down 20%. When I had started, I think was around 23 or 24%. I haven't had like my veins yet or like body fat, but I'm pretty sure and pretty confident that I'm below 20.
Yeah.
So the goal that I had in mind, I feel like I have achieved that one, but it just kind of like, I would say, the start, because it's not like an on and off switch, right? 20 done, like, then I'm back to the old square one. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So continuing the focus. So I had like this, I mean, like, what I would say, like this thing that I had after like 2021, basically after the COVID, that I would want to start focusing more on my personal and like physical well-being. So that's my goal, and I think that will be my goal for like probably my lifetime. It's not that I want to go for like any bodybuilding competitions or something like that. It's just that I want to stay fit, working towards my own body, listening to body, and feel good.
Yeah.
So I think keeping the weight consistent, that would be the ideal scenario.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting how our goals evolve as we reach them, and then we
Yeah.
feel like we want more. We can push a bit harder. We can get to that next level,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, I think the 20 is done. I think I may go to 15 if I decide. But yeah, I haven't like set it as a goal yet. It could be on the list.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And we're always happy to take you where you want to be, you know? Awesome.
Of course.
Awesome, Jatin. My next question to you would be is, now from your experience now with losing weight, gaining weight, COVID and everything, what are 3 tips or advices that you would give somebody who is starting their journey right now?
Okay, I think first one would be consistency. You have to be consistent even if you don't see the results in the initial days, because it's not a magic wand, just like wave the wand and like next day you start getting the result.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing, that you need consistency and patience, that you need to grind out to get the results. And I think that goes for like every aspect of life, not just this thing. You need to work. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing will be kind of like hold yourself accountable. You are the only person who can answer the questions why I was not able to do this thing. If you haven't tried enough, you are doing this thing for yourself, right? Like, I'm losing this weight for me, not for someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to gain or lose anything when I'm losing my weight, right? Like, so that's the thing, I'm losing it for myself. So I am responsible for this journey. So I have to follow the things that I have decided for myself. So that's kind of the second thing. And I think the third thing would be, don't try to restrict yourself just because you want to lose weight, right? Like, sometimes that happens a lot to people. Like, I have, or let's say like even like my mom, if I suggest, like, she is kind of very cautious about weight, so she sometimes try to hold herself. I mean, you cannot continue this journey forever just trying to hold yourself, but what you can do is like maybe try out what works for you best. So what worked for me best was like adding 1,000 or 2,000 steps more. That worked for me, but like that same thing might not work for other person.
True.
He just probably needs that person probably just need to find out what thing works best for him, identify that one, and like just try to follow the plan. I mean, in the end, you will reach the goal.
Yeah, that's absolutely important, is finding that balance in our
Yes,
lifestyle.
exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Thank you very much for sharing, and thank you for taking the time to do this podcast. I really enjoyed my time, and it was a lovely conversation with you. And I'm really happy with the results that you have gotten so far. And I'm looking forward to actually having you on another episode once you have got to your ultimate goal, and then that would...
Okay, yeah, for sure, definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, Jatin. Thank you very much for taking the time, and I will chat with you soon. All the best, man.
My pleasure. Thanks. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye bye.